The secret of good wipers lies with the material used for the blades. So, to ensure their business isn't wiped out, Bosch guard their formula carefully, and just 3 people know the exact recipe. What we can tell you is that the process begins with 30-kilo blocks of rubber from Malaysia. When it arrives, this natural rubber is too stiff to work with, so the first task is to whip it into shape. That's done by squeezing it through a 4mm gap between these giant rollers. It's then cut into small rolls ready to be mixed with granulated synthetic rubber and other additives to improve its strength and UV resistance. After 12 minutes, the rubber mix is fed through these filters to remove any lumps and then shaped using a process called extrusion. This forces it through progressively narrower dies until eventually it emerges in its final form. But at this stage, the blade is still too soft and it needs to be made more hard-wearing. So it now undergoes a process known as vulcanization. This is nothing to do with the pointy-eared character in Star Trek, but a process named after the Roman god of fire, Vulcan. By floating the rubber on a salt bath heated to 200 degrees Celsius, it undergoes a chemical change, which makes it more elastic and resistant to corrosion. All that's left now is for the blades to be washed and cut, so the lip is just 1/10,000th of a millimeter wide. Meanwhile, the wiper brackets and arms are formed from galvanized steel before being sent for a very special bath. Here they're cleaned and dried before being made electrically neutral. They're then charged with 80,000 volts and sprayed with anti-corrosive paint. The high voltage ensures the parts are evenly covered. Next, in an automated march of 90 wipers per minute, the brackets, arms and blades are pieced together before being checked for any tiny imperfections with both a camera and by eye. All that remains now is for tester Johan Kamps to ensure the design is working as it should.
When you work the whole day with the wipers, you see and you hear the smallest problems, and you get a lot of attention to it. And normal people doesn't make any attention to your wipers. They just listen to the radio.
Johan knows that even the slightest imperfection won't wash. So the blades are tested for levels of friction, even downward pressure, and cleaning clarity before undergoing 500 hours of exposure to humidity and 8 weeks of non-stop wiping. But even if they pass all these tests, Johan has one last hurdle the wipers must overcome: the squeak test. Ensconced in the front seat together with his work colleague Frans, they run the wipers under a jet of simulated rain and listen for the slightest unwanted noise. Thanks to Frans's impeccable hearing, Johan knows the slightest sound will be monitored, which leaves him free to enjoy the hypnotic swish of the wipers and contemplate the science of the wiper blade. Back at the rally track, and the wipers are thrashing back and forth madly as the drivers risk life and limb hurling their cars around the perilous course. But even though this is one of the most dangerous motorsports going, it's one heck of a lot safer when the drivers can see where they're going.